First Contact and Misunderstanding. The massive crystalline ship hung in Earth's orbit like a silent predator, its iridescent surface reflecting the sunlight in cold, calculating angles. Commander Elena Rodriguez stood at the United Nations Emergency Command Center, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed the alien vessel's precise positioning. "They're not even trying to hide their intentions," she muttered to Colonel Marcus Adebayo, her longtime friend and strategic advisor. The Zarkon Collective had arrived with a message of absolute certainty. Their transmission, broadcast globally just hours earlier, left no room for negotiation. "Humanity has reached a critical point of technological and social immaturity," the alien communique had stated. "We are here to guide, to control, to prevent your self-destruction." Marcus leaned closer to the display, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. "They've been watching us for decades, Elena. Collecting data, analyzing our conflicts, our struggles. What the Zarkon didn't understand was the very nature of human survival. Every scar, every war, every challenge humanity had faced was not a weakness but a crucible of innovation and resilience." The alien delegation arrived precisely at noon, their ship descending through Earth's atmosphere with an almost contemptuous ease. The landing site was a neutral ground, a vast UN conference center in Geneva, surrounded by international peacekeepers and a sea of diplomatic personnel. Ambassador Krell-Tax, the lead representative of the Zarkon Collective, was a towering figure. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, his crystalline exoskeleton shifted colors with each movement, a biological display of emotional states that humans found both fascinating and unsettling. "Your species has demonstrated consistent patterns of self-destruction," Krell-Tax proclaimed, his translator rendering his words in a cold, clinical tone. "In the past century alone, you've engaged in 187 armed conflicts, decimated significant portions of your ecosystem, and repeatedly brought yourselves to the brink of nuclear annihilation." Elena, representing the Global Emergency Response Team, stood her ground. Unlike the diplomatic representatives who might cower or apologize, she saw the aliens' assessment as a challenge. "What you see as destruction," she countered, "we see as evolution. Every conflict has taught us adaptation. Every challenge has forced us to innovate." The alien delegation exchanged glances, their skin rippling with what seemed like derision. Krell-Tax's translator crackled with a sound resembling electronic laughter. "Adaptation," he repeated. "Your technological progress is fragmented. Your social structures are volatile. The Zarkon Collective has monitored thousands of civilizations. We know precisely when a species requires intervention." Marcus, standing just behind Elena, whispered, "They have no idea what they're walking into." The conference room was a testament to human diplomatic design, neutral colors, advanced translation systems, and strategically placed security measures. But beneath the calm exterior, humanity was already analyzing, preparing, strategizing. What the Zarkon didn't comprehend was that human beings were not defined by their current state, but by their potential. Every war had taught them communication. Every environmental challenge had sparked technological breakthroughs. Every economic collapse had resulted in more resilient financial systems. As Krell-Tax continued his patronizing monologue about the Zarkon's intention to guide humanity, Elena caught Marcus's eye. A subtle nod passed between them, a communication more profound than any alien translation system could interpret. The aliens believed they were here to save humanity from itself. They didn't realize they were about to awaken a force they could never understand. Outside the conference center, unnoticed by the alien delegation, networks were already activating. Scientists, military strategists, tech innovators, and ordinary citizens from every corner of the globe were connecting, sharing data, preparing. The Zarkon thought they were conducting a simple intervention. In reality, they had just triggered humanity's most powerful survival mechanism, collective adaptation. As the first day of diplomatic discussions concluded, Commander Rodriguez knew the real conversation was just beginning. Humanity would not be controlled. Humanity would be understood. And the Zarkon Collective was about to learn a lesson they would never forget. The spark of resistance. Deep beneath the Swiss Alps, in a long-forgotten Cold War-era bunker, a unique team was assembling. Dr. Imani Okeke, a brilliant systems engineer, connected the final quantum relay to a makeshift communication hub. Around her, an eclectic group of individuals represented humanity's most unconventional problem solvers. Jack Reyes, a former street engineer from Mexico City, was busy jury-rigging alien communication devices captured during the initial diplomatic encounter. Next to him, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a robotics expert from Tokyo, worked on modifying standard consumer electronics to detect alien frequency patterns. "They think we're primitive," Jack muttered, his fingers dancing across a modified smartphone, but primitive means adaptable. The Zarkon Collective had given humanity exactly 1 month to voluntarily submit to their guidance. What the aliens didn't understand was that this ultimatum was less a deadline and more a countdown to human innovation. Commander Elena Rodriguez had handpicked this team. They weren't military strategists or traditional scientists. They were survivors, inventors, people who had learned to create solutions from nothing. Jack had grown up rebuilding discarded technology in the slums of Mexico City. Imani had developed communication systems in regions with no infrastructure. Yuki had created robotic assistants from recycled electronics. Their first breakthrough came unexpectedly. "Look at this," Yuki called out, her holographic display flickering to life. She had discovered a fundamental flaw in the alien communication encryption. The Zarkon believed their technology was unbreakable, but they had a critical weakness: they assumed complexity meant security. Imani leaned in, her dark eyes gleaming with excitement. "They're using a linear encryption model. It's advanced, but it has a predictable pattern." Jack grinned. Predictable means hackable. Meanwhile, around the globe, similar teams were forming. In a converted warehouse in Detroit, a group of former automotive engineers was repurposing assembly line robotics to create defensive mechanisms. In Mumbai, computer programmers were developing adaptive AI systems that could learn and counter alien technological signatures in real time. The Zarkon's first mistake was believing technology was a linear progression. Humanity's strength had always been its ability to improvise, to see potential where others saw limitations. Colonel Marcus Adebayo received encrypted reports from these grassroots resistance teams. Each transmission was a testament to human creativity. A group of Kenyan students had discovered how to disrupt alien communication signals using modified radio equipment. A collective of Chilean miners had developed underground communication networks that could operate independently of traditional infrastructure. "They're treating this like a conventional invasion," Marcus told Elena during a secure video conference. "But there's nothing conventional about human resistance." The alien delegation, meanwhile, continued their patronizing diplomatic mission. Daily broadcasts spoke of guiding and protecting humanity. Each message was a calculated display of technological superiority, intended to demonstrate the futility of resistance. What they didn't see was the network forming beneath the surface. Every communication, every technological probe was teaching humanity about the Zarkon. And humans were fast learners. In the Swiss Alps bunker, Imani made a breakthrough that would change everything. By analyzing the alien communication patterns, she developed a translation algorithm that went beyond simple language conversion. It began to decode the underlying cultural and technological assumptions of the Zarkon Collective. "They're hierarchical," she explained to her teammates. "Completely linear in their thinking. They believe advancement is about accumulation, of technology, of control. They can't comprehend adaptive thinking." Jack laughed. "So we'll give them something they can't comprehend." As the first week of the alien ultimatum passed, something extraordinary was happening. Humanity wasn't just preparing for defense. They were preparing to turn the invasion into an opportunity for unprecedented global cooperation. In university labs, high school workshops, community centers, and makeshift technology hubs, people were sharing knowledge. The barriers of language, nationality, and background dissolved in the face of a common challenge. The Zarkon thought they were coming to subdue a primitive species. Instead, they had triggered humanity's most powerful mechanism, collective innovation born from adversity. Commander Rodriguez looked at the global communication map. What the aliens saw as chaos, she saw as a living, breathing network of human potential. Each blinking light represented not just a location, but a node of resistance, of creativity, of hope. The countdown to the alien ultimatum continued. But for humanity, it was more than a deadline. It was an invitation to prove exactly who they were. Technological improvisation. The first alien probe descended over the Australian outback, its sleek metallic body glinting under the harsh desert sun. What the Zarkon Collective intended as a surgical reconnaissance mission would become a turning point in their understanding of human capability. Dr. Aryan Kosi, a South African quantum physicist working with the Global Resistance Network, watched the incoming data streams with a predatory focus. The probe's advanced sensors were supposed to be undetectable, its technology generations ahead of human capabilities. They were wrong. Target acquired, whispered Tom Rodriguez, Elena's younger brother and a communications specialist. He was part of a distributed team spread across 3 continents, each member controlling a different aspect of the interception plan. In the remote Australian listening station, a team of technicians had been preparing for this moment. What looked like an ordinary communications array was actually a complex network of modified consumer electronics, industrial sensors, and custom-built signal interceptors. The alien probe descended, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to traditional detection methods. But humanity had learned to see beyond traditional limitations. Frequency modulation at 97.3 terahertz, called out Wei Zhang, a Chinese-Canadian engineer. Compensating with harmonic resonance in 3, 2, 1. The probe suddenly stuttered. Its advanced guidance systems began to malfunction, not through brute force disruption, but through an intricate dance of signal manipulation that the aliens had never encountered. In the Nairobi Tech Hub, Imani Okeke smiled. They think technology is about power, she told her team. We know it's about conversation. The global resistance had discovered something profound about the Zarkon technological approach. The aliens believed in absolute control, in perfect systems. Humanity understood that true innovation came from imperfection, from the ability to adapt and improvise. The Australian outback interception was more than a technical victory. It was a message. Colonel Marcus Adebayo reviewed the mission logs in the underground command center. Beside him, Commander Elena Rodriguez studied the holographic representations of the probe's systems. They're predictable, Elena observed. Every technological solution they have is designed with a linear progression. Fail-safes, backup systems, all following a rigid pattern. Marcus nodded. And we're anything but predictable. Around the world, similar interception teams were at work. In the dense forests of Brazil, a team of indigenous tech innovators had developed signal masking techniques using principles of natural camouflage. In the Silicon Valleys of India, programmers were creating adaptive algorithms that could learn and counter alien technological signatures in real time. The Zarkon probe became a treasure trove of information. Each system was carefully dissected, not just by military strategists, but by a global network of scientists, engineers, and innovative thinkers. Look at their power distribution systems, Dr. Yuki Tanaka explained during a secure video conference. Her holographic display showed intricate diagrams of alien technology. They have no concept of distributed resilience. Everything is centralized, which means a single point of failure can compromise entire systems. Jack Reyes, the street engineer, grinned. So we'll give them distributed chaos. The resistance wasn't just defending. They were learning, adapting, transforming alien technology into something entirely unexpected. A week after the Australian interception, the Zarkon Collective sent a warning transmission. Their language was clinical, designed to instill fear, technological interference will result in immediate and total suppression. But humanity had already moved beyond fear. In underground labs, makeshift workshops, and collaborative digital spaces, people were doing something the aliens could never comprehend. They were turning the invasion into an opportunity for unprecedented global cooperation. A teenager in Lagos could be collaborating with a retired engineer in Vancouver. A group of students in Seoul might be developing a breakthrough that a team in Sao Paulo would perfect. The barriers of nationality, language, and background dissolved in the face of a common challenge. The Zarkon saw humanity as a collection of individuals. They didn't understand that humans were a network, a living, breathing system of collective intelligence. As the second month of the alien ultimatum approached, the resistance was no longer just preparing. They were ready to demonstrate that technology was about more than advanced systems. It was about the spirit of innovation. It was about turning limitations into opportunities. And most importantly, it was about proving that true strength came not from perfection, but from the ability to adapt, to learn, and to transform. The real invasion was just beginning. And humanity was ready. The turning point. The Zarkon Collective's patience had finally dissolved. What began as a calculated intervention had transformed into a full-scale assault on human civilization. Their first major strike came without warning. Massive energy weapons descended from orbit, targeting critical infrastructure across multiple continents. Cities flickered and went dark. Communication networks stuttered. To any other species, it would have been a devastating blow. But humanity had been preparing. In the underground command center beneath the Swiss Alps, Commander Elena Rodriguez watched the initial attack with a calm that surprised even herself. "Activate Protocol Hydra," she commanded. The name was deliberate. Like the mythical creature that grew two heads for every one cut off, humanity's response would be anything but predictable. As alien energy weapons struck major cities, something extraordinary happened. Instead of complete destruction, the targeted areas began to shift and adapt. In New York, underground utility networks rerouted power through an intricate web of backup systems. In Tokyo, community networks instantly switched to localized communication grids. Dr. Imanio Keke had prepared for this moment. The distributed network they had developed wasn't just a communication system, it was a living, breathing organism of human innovation. "They're using a centralized attack pattern," she told Jack Reyes, who was monitoring global response systems. "Which means they expect a centralized response." Jack's fingers flew across multiple interfaces. "And we're anything but centralized." The alien assault revealed their fundamental misunderstanding of human resilience. Each strike was met with immediate, localized adaptation. Where a power grid went down, community solar networks emerged. When communication satellites were disabled, mesh networks using everything from modified smartphones to amateur radio systems sprang to life. In the Australian outback, a group of indigenous technologists used traditional land navigation techniques combined with cutting-edge signal technology to create communication corridors that the aliens couldn't detect. In the mountains of Peru, local communities used ancient communication methods integrated with modern technology to maintain critical information networks. Colonel Marcus Adebayo watched the global response with a sense of pride. "They think they're attacking our infrastructure," he told Elena. "But they're actually teaching us how to be more resilient." The Zarkon Collective's technological superiority began to crumble against human unpredictability. Their advanced targeting systems, designed for precise, methodical destruction, couldn't comprehend the fluid, adaptive nature of human resistance. In orbit, the alien command ship became increasingly frustrated. Their holographic displays showed a world that refused to break. Cities that should have been obliterated were instead transforming, redirecting, surviving. Zarkon Commander Kreltax reviewed the assault logs with growing anger. "They're using our own technology against us," he told his senior advisors. The translation systems caught the hint of something new in his voice, an emotion the Zarkon rarely experienced. Fear. Each alien strike revealed more about their own technological systems. Humanity wasn't just defending, they were learning, adapting, turning the invasion into a massive, global research project. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's team in Tokyo had already reverse-engineered significant portions of the alien weapon systems. What the Zarkon saw as advanced technology, humans saw as a puzzle to be solved, a challenge to be understood. They believe in perfection, Yuki explained during a global strategy meeting. We believe in possibility. As the first phase of the alien assault concluded, the world looked different. Cities weren't destroyed, they were transformed. Communities were more connected than ever. The global network of human resistance had turned a potential apocalypse into an opportunity for unprecedented cooperation. The Zarkon Collective had come to subdue humanity. Instead, they had awakened something far more powerful. A species that didn't just survive, but thrived in the face of impossible challenges. The real war was just beginning. And humanity was ready. Humanity's triumph. The final confrontation was not what anyone expected. As the Zarkon Collective prepared their ultimate weapon, a planet-killer device designed to eliminate what they saw as a persistent threat, humanity was already several steps ahead. The massive alien ship hung in orbit, its crystalline structure pulsing with devastating energy, ready to deliver what they believed would be a final, decisive blow. Commander Elena Rodriguez stood in the Global Command Center, a network of distributed technologies connecting her to resistance teams around the world. This isn't about defeating them, she told her team. This is about making them understand. Dr. Imani Okeke had spent weeks analyzing the alien communication systems. What she discovered was more than a technological breakthrough, it was a cultural translation. The Zarkon understood power as control. Humanity understood power as adaptation. As the planet-killer device charged, something unprecedented began to happen. Instead of a traditional defensive response, humanity launched a communication offensive that would change everything. Every communication system, every network device, every piece of technology humans had modified began to transmit a unified message. Not in words, but in data, a complex, adaptive language that told the story of human survival. Images streamed from every continent. Not of military might, but of resilience. A community in Haiti rebuilding after a hurricane. Engineers in India creating water systems from recycled materials. Children in war-torn regions creating art from discarded technology. Scientists collaborating across impossible distances. Volunteers healing environmental damage. Each transmission was a piece of a larger narrative, a living, breathing demonstration of human potential. Jack Reyes, monitoring the global network, laughed. We're not just sending a message, he told Yuki Tanaka. We're showing them who we are. On the alien command ship, Kreltax watched in growing confusion. The planet-killer device began to malfunction, its systems overwhelmed by a type of communication it could not comprehend. It wasn't a technological attack. It was something far more powerful. Understanding. The transmissions continued. Generations of human innovation, of survival, of hope. Not as a threat, but as an invitation to see beyond technological superiority. Colonel Marcus Adebayo understood the true nature of the attack. We're not fighting them, he said. We're teaching them. As the alien ship systems began to destabilize, something extraordinary happened. The Zarkon were experiencing humanity, not as a threat to be controlled, but as a species of limitless potential. Moments before the planet-killer device could be activated, it simply shut down. Kreltax stared in disbelief. The transmission continued, not of destruction, but of creation. Of hope. Of a species that didn't just survive, but transformed challenges into opportunities. The invasion was over. Not through violence, but through understanding. In the underground command center, Elena Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. We didn't just defend ourselves, she said softly. We showed them what it means to be human. Around the world, communities celebrated not a victory of force, but a triumph of spirit. The Zarkon Collective had come to subdue humanity. Instead, they had learned the most important lesson of all. True strength isn't about control. It's about adaptation. It's about hope. It's about being human. As the alien ship slowly retreated from Earth's orbit, a new chapter of interstellar understanding began. Not as conquerors and conquered, but as potential partners in a vast, unpredictable universe. Humanity had taught the universe a lesson it would never forget.